So if you guys could please turn your monitors off, please pay attention to the next step. You're going to have plenty of time to work on your definition on your own. All right? So please, monitors off, look away from your screens, look up here. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so before we start, there was a question. Why am I putting the XY planes in? Right? Because really, if I was to kind of do this, right, this particular component provides its own XY plane. It's already built into it. So it's kind of redundant, right? Well, the reason that I'm doing that is because I want you guys to follow the logic trail. Oops. Back to this one, Control Z. I want you to follow the logic trail of point somewhere in space, a construction plane applied to it, and then an object placed on the construction plane. Okay? So it is not necessary. You're absolutely right. You can do without it. Okay? All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is I want the origin of this square. Actually, I want to use this square right here. So I'm going to use the adjustable one. What I want to do is I'm going to change that so that it becomes a square. That one's just going to sort of sit there. Okay? So I made it so it's a square. I made it so it has the maximum size that I gave it ability to make it was 10 units, which is 10 feet. Okay? So now what I want to do is you notice that it's rotated off of the XY axes, right? So I want to rotate it so that it is on the XY axes. All right? So that's good. That's one of the things that I want to do. Okay? So the next thing that I would like to do is make some copies of it. All right? And I want the copies to go in the X direction. All right? So right now, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video and let you guys just go through the process of getting this thing to where it's rotated in the XY coordinate system so that it aligns with it rather than be off. Okay? Any questions about that? No? All right, so I'll pause the video and we'll do that and then you guys can continue on. Okay, please stop working, turn your monitors off or whatever and look up here. Okay, so again, I'm asking you to go back to what you had previously done. Andrew, look up here. I'm asking you to go back to what you previously done, right? So, for example, we used the rotate feature. We used the rotate feature when we did the Earth's orbit, okay? Now, one of the problems with this is that there are a lot of rotates. So if I double click here and I type in ROTA, right? There's rotate axes, rotate axes, and they're all different, right? So somebody, I think it might have been Daniel, said, well, I typed the whole word, rotate, right? And, you know, I don't know, rotate pretty much still give me that entire list of stuff. All right, so then what I said, and what I want you guys to do is I want you to reference your previous definitions. And so just so that you understand, I have 2 copies of Rhino running, and I have 2 copies of Grasshopper running. And that's as much as I'm going to let you guys see right now. Okay? So the rotate that we're looking for, I'm going to, again, hold down Control, Alt, and click. Oops. What's it? I got to click here. So, oh, it's a wrong keyboard. So look where it's at. Okay, it's under transform and it's under Euclidean transformations. That's the one we want. So that was one of the first mistakes that I walked around and saw people doing is, one, you're not using the right rotate, and part of the reason is you're not referring back to the prior lessons. So all of you should have 2 copies of Rhino running and 2 copies of Grasshopper, and you should learn how to kind of distinguish one from the other. So that's one thing. Second mistake that everybody made, they all forgot this. Okay? They all forgot, or not all, but because James got it. Somebody else got it. Who got it? You got it. All right, so a few people got it. A few people did, but a lot of people, right, were like, well, what works? Why should I care? Right? Yes, you're going to rotate it, 10,000 radians or 100 radians. But what we're trying to do is rotate it 45 degrees. It's been eons or decades since I took trig. So I don't remember exactly how to convert radians to to degrees. But I can tell you something that might help you, right? So earlier somebody was asking me, well, why are we putting the plane down if we don't need it? Well, it turns out there's two things I want to talk about in reference to that. If we hadn't have put the plane here, we wouldn't be able to feed that plane, and what we would be getting is very different. So let me disconnect this. Disconnect XY plane. So this is no longer rotating on that plane origin, is it? Now it's rotating on the world origin, because this, if you hover over it, is set to the world origin. So we really did need to feed it with our moved origin. Okay? One other thing that could be helpful and kind of getting you guys to kind of remember and learn this stuff is there is a degree to radians converter. So I can, instead of feeding it directly from here and changing the function there, I can put this between them. Feed that. So put this back to normal. Turn off degrees. And so now with this conversion feature, right, I still get my degrees. But it makes the definition bigger. One, Natalie, put your monitor against the wall, please. It makes the definition bigger, okay? And it, you know, it sort of clarifies things, but it makes you, maybe it makes you remember something, okay? All right, so I got one more little task for you guys to do before we move on to figuring out how to make copies of it vertically, okay? So here's the deal. We see two squares, right? Do you guys remember how to get rid of one of those two squares? Please do that. I'm going to pause this while you guys do that. Zooming. So on the clue to what I did to fix that is visible on the screen. It's one of the components that's not the color you would normally expect it to be. Okay? So all I did was click here, hit the space bar, and I turned off the preview. Okay? Or conversely, you can right click on it and turn off the preview. Okay? All right, so I'm going to stop this one and go on to another one.